What's all the Omnifuss about then?
Hello, and welcome to another episode of What's All the Omnifuss About. This is a very special episode, not just because I have two new guests, but we have the star of that intro, the guy whose voice you hear every month. It's Rich. Can you do it for us, Rich? That's, of course, if you don't already know, that is Scott makes that voice just for me, just for the show. It's great.
So, I am available for hire for
yes,
voiceover things.
Just send payment to Phil and Phil's Nerdyverse, and we'll
I get a 4% from that.
4
commission, 4%.
Did we agree?
That's what you agree. That's what you told me. I have.
I thought I said 2. You've generous.
Sorry, damn! I tried to pull the wool over your eyes again.
Try to double your profit there, Scott.
double my profit. Damn it!
But this is the show where we discuss not just omnibuses, but everything collected editions, absolutes, hardcovers, deluxes, and trade paperbacks. Because I say that because these two guys not solely trade paperbacks, but mostly trade paperbacks is how you get your reading in. I am joined by Scott.
Hello.
You can see him in the Nerd Herd as well. And for the first time on this stream, we have Rich from Comics versus the World.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
I've been trying to I think I tried to get you last month, maybe the month before. So I'm glad you fitted me into your schedule. I know you're a very busy man.
You are welcome.
But we're here to discuss everything good about comics and collected and whatever else. So first of all, let's just see who is in the live chat tonight. We have Connie saying, God, that countdown is intense, isn't it?
It is.
And Highland G is here. We have Kevin, and we have Martin from Sonic's Comics. Like I said, you guys this is the first time you've been on this stream. I quite like having a kind of slew of rotating guests, just different people, just to get different perspectives, different personalities, see what it turns each other on, as opposed to having the same things every month. So, So. And we are, just to let you know, we are also broadcasting live on my own Phil's Nerdyverse channel for the first time. The idea being that's a very inactive channel. I don't use it a lot. In fact, it's been like a year since my last video. So if there is anyone watching from there, feel free to jump over to the Nerd Herd, subscribe to us there, watch this every month, as well as the weekly book club and draw-alongs and monthly quizzes. So if you are on my channel, I'm over here now with Scott, with Shane, with Kev, with us all. So come over, So we'll discuss our recent kind of pickups and reads and that kind of thing. But how are you guys? Are you all right? Are you all good? Tired?
Yeah. Let's just say
I'm always tired.
I'm just happy it's Friday.
Yes.
Happy it's Friday. Happy to be chatting with you boys about coloured paper and everyone else watching. It'll be great.
It's actually my birthday tomorrow as well.
Whoa!
Birthday me.
Happy birthday, mate.
Happy birthday.
Thanks.
And we have a video just here for you. We don't. Well, wish I'd have known. Would have prepared something in advance, But happy returns. What's that? 24 tomorrow, is it? I hear 24th. Yeah,
a little bit higher.
Okay.
25.
38.
Oh yeah. But
nice.
So, like I say, I'm sure obviously for the folks watching, you see me every week, you see Scott every week. Rich isn't on YouTube himself, but is very active on Instagram. I of course have his link in the description below. You pretty much post daily, or you used to anyway. But if you don't do daily, there's always a story with a what's the word I'm thinking of? A memory. Like a year ago, you posted this. There's always something pretty active.
Yeah, I was doing daily posts up until my daughter was born recently, and then I was like, right, okay, we're cutting back for a little while. So I went down to 3 times a week, and then I've been doing 4 times a week if I can. Although I've missed one of them this week, but I'm just trying not to stress about it as much while I ain't got as much time. But I always try and put stuff on my stories as well when I'm not posting. But yeah, Instagram is really the only thing I do.
be fair, I enjoy it, and obviously I enjoy your Instagram page, but I enjoy the comic book trackers you make. I always screenshot them every month, but I never like remember to do them. If you know what I mean, every month I screen grab them to use them, and then I never like read enough, or else I don't think I've time to do it, type of thing. But yeah, any folks who are watching, just if you want a comic tracker for your Instagram stories, Rich provides them every month.
Thank you. Yeah.
It isn't the case of just screenshotting it, is it? You put them in your
Yeah, they are
to be saved.
They're in my highlights. So if you go to my page, profile page, whatever it is, they're in the highlights as well.
But you can't download them. You have to screenshot from the highlights too.
Yeah, you do with Instagram. You can't save somebody else's. But if you don't want to screenshot it, I'll happily send you the picture. I've got it on my phone, so I can send it to you directly.
Like I say, I never get round to posting it myself. I always screen grab them anyway. But yeah, if you want them, get in touch with Rich, and he will send them on. Scott, you don't track that what you read, really, do you?
No, I just read it.
Yeah.
My way of tracking it is putting it into specific parts of my shelf.
Yeah.
I have a bit which I know there are a few little holes in the shelves which I know, right, I haven't read those bits. so I know, right, I can take them off, read them, and then I put them into a different bit when I've read it.
I've tried to do that now with my cube behind me. I've got a cube empty. And I'm going to try and put like my TBR into there. So I know that's what I'm sticking with. Read it, then I'll put it on the shelves where it belongs.
Yeah, I do have a TBR stack. So that's how I know what I'm going to be reading. But I'm quite obsessive about tracking things. I like reading a track on Goodreads. But what I've actually got in the sort of like collection as well is all on CLZ. I have everything logged on there.
Can you log trades on that?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Track. Yeah. All singles, trades, hardcovers, omnibus.
Wow. Okay.
A few of the more obscure graphic novels might not be on, but quite a lot.
And I'm glad you mentioned that word obscure, because I do think a lot of the stuff you read is quite obscure in comparison to like the norm, obviously, the Marvel DC kind of normal stuff. And that's why I like your page a lot, because you do have stuff that I would never have looked at without seeing it. Yeah, I'm seeing it for the first time through your eyes, essentially.
Yeah, like I agree with Phil about Rich's stuff, really, because comics, obviously, it is a medium where you are going to judge a book by its cover, and you see the art on the cover, and you go, do I like that art or do I not like that art? And some of the times, the books that Rich posts, I see the cover and I'm like, I don't like that initially. It's not catching my eye. It's not popping out at me. But then you open the book and in your post, I see a couple of the pages and I go, okay, it's not that bad. And then I read your review, and usually they're very descriptive and they're quite glowing, or sometimes they're not. And then, I'm going, oh, okay, maybe I should put my own visual biases aside and give stuff like this a go. So Richard's Instagram is great. Just go on it.
Thanks. I mean, I can't take credit for a lot of the recommendations do come off YouTube. If I'm allowed to mention other channels on your channel.
Yeah.
We were obviously talking about before we started For the Love of Comics. I love all the stuff that he shares. Chris from Offmyshelves.
Oh, don't mention that one. Sorry, that one's off limits. We can't have Chris. I'm just kidding. Chris, if you watch this live or whatever, sorry.
But there's one in my pile here that I bought. That's his fault. And then the other people I watch usually what's she called? The Comic Slayer.
Yes.
If you know the Comic Slayer, Kristen. She has her own channel, but then she also appears on the Omnibus Collectors Network and on Omnidog's channel. She's on 3 channels.
Like Fangirls Assembles or something.
Assemble on there, yeah. But we tend to match tastes quite a lot. So, yeah.
Scott's Instagram's good too, because what I love about like something like Rich like having a post every day, Scott will get like a influx of books, like say 12 books.
It's a
and just
dump.
Post it all in a big photo dump on Instagram.
It's like binge watching something on Netflix, isn't it?
Yeah.
What a great way to describe it. But yeah, mate, like, the Christmas post was obviously, I do try to keep up with it. Like today I posted one because I had it delivered today. But yeah, Christmas, I had them all at Christmas. And I'm not going to put one picture with all of them up. I want to do a post each. Because I like scrolling through my own profile and going, that looks quite neat. It looks quite nice to look at my own profile. So, but yeah, like, the other day I did do a little bit of a dump because I had a few things delivered and just kept like neglecting it, or I bought a few things, but I was like, okay, I've got like 5 or 6 things now. I should maybe do some pictures, but I don't have the patience to just park them and put them up every day because I know I'll forget. I don't have the attention span to keep on point with it. So I'm just like, right, I just want them all on now, and I don't care. I don't even tag them. I don't care who sees them, who doesn't see them. I just want them there. It's my own little log, to be honest, like of what I have.
Instagram would be good if you could like YouTube, like you'd schedule them like 9 a.m. every day.
Yeah.
Here's the next 7 photos for that.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the way your kind of the grid looks. I spoke to Rich before on this and his grid, and it's like how I'm super jealous of, because everything is like perfectly straight and uniform across the grid. It's like I want that.
Yeah.
I'm again talking about patience, taking a photograph. I'm like all over the show. I don't have I don't have a steady hand to keep it straight.
Yeah.
I don't have the patience to do that either in like a photo editor to change it or whatever. So I don't know how you guys do it, but Rich, yours always looks really uniform and really neat. And kudos.
I mean, just for if anybody is interested, I always use an app. I have a Android phone, and I use an app called Snapseed, and it's just a photo editing app, but it's quite good at correcting if you haven't got it quite straight or you haven't got it even the perspective quite right. You can adjust it. So
there we go, Phil, sorted. Now you can stop moaning.
I don't moan. I have never moaned about anything in my life.
Never moaned.
But that is enough of compliments to each other for this evening. Let's get stuck in.
I thought that was it. This was the show. Just going to be the 3 of us saying how good we are at things for 2 hours.
Well, if you want to focus just on me for the next 2 hours, that is okay.
Yeah, fine.
Okay,
yeah.
No, we'll get into what's the word? The meat and bones, the meat and potatoes. Well, not meat and potatoes, something different. Meat and bones off this stream. And let's look at our pickups. Is that okay? We'll start with pickups. That's what we usually do.
Yeah.
We're good with that. Yeah. All right. So we'll learn our pickups here. And how do you guys want to do this? Just go one person at a time, show us them all, or do you want to do one at a time and go round?
As in pickups this month?
Yeah, just recent pickups. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Take turns or go all out. I don't care.
We'll start with Rich. Rich, you just give us it all if you wish. It's no problem.
So, I mean, some of my recent pickups cross over into my recent reads, but I'll start with the recent pickups that I haven't yet read. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Sounds good.
So the one that I mentioned that was Chris's fault, Offmyshelves. Wilson by Daniel.
Wilson.
That looks like Chris. Is that why you bought it? Is that why you're blaming Chris? Because the short hair, the glasses, a bit of a goatee. Yeah.
No, he put a video on. I don't know, 2 weeks ago maybe, and he said he picked it up for a few quid on eBay. So I went on eBay and I found it for a few quid. So yeah, I read one other book by Daniel Clowes, which is Ghost World. If you've heard of Ghost World, that's probably his most famous.
No.
And it was turned into there was a film of it.
Wow. Yeah. Was it called Ghost World?
Ghost World.
Yeah, all right. Recent? Old?
No, it's about, I don't know. It's probably about 20 years old. But to be honest, I just liked. I wasn't like Ghost World. I enjoyed, but it gets quite a lot of acclaim, and I wasn't like in love with it. I really liked it, but I didn't quite see what all the fuss was about. But I did like the style of writing, and then Chris showed off this God, I'm terrible at getting the camera right.
I'm gonna try and play a bit with this because I
It's
don't.
got a few
There we
different.
go.
It's got sort of slightly different art styles. So there's some quite cartoony there.
Nice.
But then it turns a little sort of slightly less cartoony, a bit more realistic people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know a lot about it apart from the fact that he's. It says Wilson is a big-hearted slob, a lonesome bachelor, an idiot, a sociopath, and a delicate flower.
Oh,
It just sounded really good, and for a few quid on eBay, I think I literally paid £4 for that. So
nice, easy.
I'd give that a go.
See, this is the thing, but with that book there, like the fact that it's quite cartoony, that's what I kind of now associate like you and Chris and For Love of Comics with. Like, you just don't always go for the kind of big, bombastic art style. You do that kind of, do you know what I mean? Like the name comes to mind is like Box Brown, for example. That kind of like art style, if you know what I mean. So it's not the full on. Here's a double page spread of like the Ghost Rider or something. It's just here's a nice cartoonist version or whatever, or cartoony art, but tells a story.
Yeah, like there's some. Like I've read one of the Box Brown books, the Andre the Giant one. It's a really good read, but I wouldn't say I enjoyed that necessarily for the art. For me, the art was serviceable. It's just.
You're definitely more of a story kind of guy, aren't you?
A lot of the time, I just keep glancing over to my pile. Yeah. I mean, the story comes first for me, and I can accept a lot of flaws in art. I'm a big fan of like Jeff Lemire's art, which is not for everybody's taste.
Yeah,
but I really like the sort of rawness of it. And then the more cartoony stuff like the Daniel Clowes, that's very precise and so quite easy. It makes it easy to follow whatever the narrative is.
Did we read a book with art by Daniel Clowes on the Nerd Herd, one of your picks? I can't remember.
Doesn't ring a bell. Doesn't ring a bell for me.
I can't think what it is.
Look it up.
Could be completely wrong. Could be a completely different person. Not 100%. Signature King has joined us live. So what up, fellow nerds? We're all good. Thanks for joining us. So let's give us another one, and then we'll go to Scott. We'll do two with Scott, and then we'll just do two at a time. And we'll just play it by ear how long we could be here for. We have Phil's Treehouse has joined us as well. Hooray for daytime live streams. That's good for where we are. It's nighttime where we are here in the UK, but we're glad we're broadcast around the world. You can watch us anytime during the day. Thanks for joining us. Go ahead, Rich.
So, completely different change of pace. We've got Firepower by Robert Kirkman and Chris Samney. This is volume 5, trade paperback. Covers issues 19 to 24. I have read this. To be honest, it's one of the. It gets read pretty quickly when it comes in because it really is so easy to read. I really like. I don't know if you can see that well, but I really like Chris Samney's art, and I really like. I really like old martial arts films. Anything with kung fu in it's up my street. So. It's
nice.
very cool.
I want to read that series, and I don't know why I keep putting it off. I don't know what is like stopping me from buying it because I'm assuming it's all like a little bit like Avatar, but with fire, just fire. I'm assuming. Or...
I mean, I've not watched or read any Avatar, so I can't really.
Man. Okay.
The first, it came out. They released a trade paperback first. Yeah. So the trade paperback volume 1 is called The Prelude, and it never came out in single issues. It was just released as a trade paperback, and that whole thing is like it's very similar to like an Iron Fist origin story,
right?
If you at all know Iron Fist's origin, it's very sort of similar. But then as soon as you get past the prelude, and I enjoyed the prelude, but as soon as you get past sort of that, he's then after doing all this training and stuff to learn how to use the firepower, he's back home and having a life. He's got a wife and kids, and then it's about the two sort of worlds like coming together. The stuff that he did in his past has come back, and it involves the whole family, and there's sort of quite funny like scenes where they're just having a whole pages full of them just having a barbecue in the back garden, and in the next issue they'll be fighting a dragon. So it's really fast paced and just fun. Yeah, I like it.
I am the same. Same as Scott. Like, I really want to read this, but again, I keep putting it off. Well, obviously, I'll go for the hardcover, which only collects the first. I want to say 18. Yeah. 18 I want to get that, and you can still get it. Obviously, it's still out there, and you get it fairly cheap. It's not too expensive. So I keep meaning to pick it up. I keep putting it off, and I have no reason, no excuse to say why I am putting it off. Because a lot of people who talk about Robert Kirkman, obviously The Walking Dead and Invincible, but they're saying they will say that this is the next big kind of one that is just up there with those two kind of series. You know?
Yeah. So it collects Firepower Volume 1 and Firepower 1 to 12.
Okay.
So
18
then, yeah.
That prelude is the equivalent really of 6 issues long, but
yeah.
But yeah.
Is it due to end? Like, that's Volume 5, so is like Volume 6 going to be the last one, or is it going to? Do you know or anything? Is it going to continue? I haven't heard. I'm just curious because Robert. I mean, does it have legs? Like, could you go on for a long time with that?
I mean, I think so. I suppose in Volume 5 it gets quite almost apocalyptic. So I feel like it could be reaching a conclusion with Volume 6. It easily could, but yeah, I know what Kirkman's like. He doesn't like to tell you when the ending's going to come.
Mm-hmm.
So that's obviously what he did with The Walking Dead. Nobody knew The Walking Dead was going to end until it ended. And I think he did the same with Outcast as well. That ran for about 50 issues, and he was a bit cagey about when it was good. He said at the beginning he had an end in sight, but he didn't know when it was going to come.
Yeah. I think with The Walking Dead, you're right. I think everyone predicted a certain number just to have like kind of, what's the word, like an even kind of number of trades and hardcovers or whatever.
Yeah.
Then he just stopped like 192 or something, or 193. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, it's just, I like that he does that. It keeps everyone on their toes. Like, whatever you expect, no, we're doing it this way.
Don't expect it.
Yeah, Highland G is saying it is ongoing, sort of, so he believes. Just have a question. I think we'll just answer while we go along. Are trades more popular in the UK than single issues? I don't think so. I think it's much of a muchness, I suppose.
In our circle,
yeah,
yes. You know, in like most of the people we know, I think yes.
I think even more and more are going to trades. I mean, obviously, I've only got like our sort of circle, but even like other guys on YouTube, TripleG's gone to trades. Those people still buy back issues or maybe number ones that they're like speculating on or whatever, but they're not buying them to read the single issues a lot of the time.
Getting them to flip.
So people who are reading are normally, as far as I can tell, reading trades.
And I guess, you know, cost of living, issue for issue, it's much cheaper to buy deluxes, omnibuses, and all that kind of thing. Like, so, you know, yes, they're expensive as a bulk, but if you're going to go, I'm interested in that sounds cool, I'll wait until the trades come out, and it is cheaper, you know, maybe by like between £5 and £8.
Yeah, because like I still have single issues on a pull list in the store, but I have been cutting it back. And I think there's certain books like Batman and Detective, I think I'll always collect because I like the idea of having, like, when I'm an old man and my kids are old enough, here's like, you know, 1,000 issues of Batman in a run, and Spider-Man as well, and Detective. So I do still pick up single issues, but especially with indie books, I should say, I'm dropping more and more books, and I'll pick them up in a trade paperback. And then if I really enjoy it, the trade's really good, and they bring a deluxe hardcover down the line, I'll tend to double dip and buy that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think you're right. In our circle, the people we know, trades are more popular than singles, because I can't think of anyone actually in the YouTube kind of game or Instagram that actually has single issues. I think I could be the only one.
Pete?
Oh, yeah, but again, as Richard said, he buys them like the back issues or a cover that he likes. He's not on a run of books. And even the Killer Comic Show, for example, they also read digitally as well. But I know Charlie, he said before, he's going to go the trade route as well. So
yeah, I mean, I still do pick up the odd single issue. I have a collection. I have a collection of Legion of Superheroes comics. So if anything new with the Legion of Superheroes comes out, I will always buy it, and then I'm always looking for back issues of that. And it's the same with Young Avengers. But I mean, obviously they haven't done any Young Avengers in years, but I tend to pick up anything that has Hulkling and Wiccan. But that's it, really.
Highland G's commenting on Firepower. He enjoyed the first hardcover. The family bit was the disappointing part for him. He wanted him to end up with the girl he met at the start of the story. Fun read overall. By the way, if I say Firepower, being from Northern Ireland, like we can't say power. It just sounds really weird. Yeah, so it's Par. It's in P-A-R-R. I got a good bit of stick for that, but it is what it is.
Whereas I really liked the family stuff, and
that's the beauty of it. And to be fair, like Highland G has like a lot of samurai influenced books, doesn't he? So, that's fine. Phil's Treehouse is saying sometimes he sells the floppies when the 18-issue hardcover comes out. I aim to do that, but I don't sell things. I struggle to part with anything.
Yeah, you should. Like I do that with trades. I get the trades in volume 1, 2, 3, and then I'll try and palm them off and trade them, for either exactly or close to the price of the deluxe, just so I'm not double, hard hit because I've bought two of the same thing essentially.
Yeah, well, this is what we discussed on earlier today, that with the Jason Aaron Thor omnibus coming out, this second volume, and the first volume is getting like a restock or a reprint. Me and Scott, we collected the complete collection, trade paperbacks. I was happy with that. I didn't want to upgrade to volume 1 because I just spent the money to get the first 5 trades. So I
over £100.
Yes, but now it's to the point, if the 2 are coming out and that's the complete run, the complete story, I may sell them and pick up the 2 omnibuses if it's never going to be exact, but if it's close enough to at least cover something, I'll definitely do it. You might do the same if it's, again, if what you could sell it for is close to the omnibus. Then.
Like I'll definitely sell the complete editions to get the Omni. I'm not going to have both. That's stupid. But you wreck me. You know that, don't you? You send me these things. Like the reason I bought War of the Realms was because Martin sent me a link saying it's on sale, mate. Go get it. Like, you bastard. And I had to, for me to fund myself to get that, I sold my Why the Last Man books.
Oh no, but Martin feels really guilty now. You have to part
No.
Why the Last Man.
I didn't want them. I read the story and I enjoyed the story, but it's not my thing. I understand that it's like very well celebrated and very well liked, but it's just not for me. It was cool and I understood it and I got why people enjoyed it, but there he goes. Sorry, Scott. But I was happy to sell them, to be honest. I knew I didn't want them.
You did say a few months ago about that. You liked it and all, but it wasn't for you.
Yeah. So yeah.
Promiscuous Time Traveler is saying greetings from California, and he's also commented about how he buys the trade paperbacks and sell them for half off, and kind of wish that he never purchased single issues.
Yeah,
I have that too with single issues. Like I get the hype of a book before it comes out, and I say, "Well, give me that, or I'll collect the run." Then like they're worth like 50p after. Again, not that I want them to be worth money, but I feel like I can't do anything with these. No one's going to be willing to buy them off my hands. I'm kind of stuck with them, and whether I like it or not, it's irrelevant. I'm stuck with these comics. But that's the idea. If my kids get older, that they could just inherit the collection and they can just read it. And
Of worthless comics.
Exactly, yeah.
Cool.
And cost of living crisis. I mean, you heat the house up, by lighting comics all day in the fire, so it's okay.
You've got a shed full of fuel, essentially, in there.
That's exactly 100%. Thousands of pounds worth of
Thousands
fuel.
of pounds worth of fuel. Perfect. Let's read
Scott,
it first.
You are up. You
I'm
want to
up?
give us two?
Yeah, okay. So I'll go in order of date I received them via Royal Mail. First one, Canto. This isn't a volume 4. This is like annuals type of thing, like extra bonus stories and stuff. So this covers, it's called Tales of the Unnamed World, and it collects Canto and the City of Giants, and both issues of Canto Tales of the Unnamed World. So there's just 3 issues in this, but they are, a bit extra, not the standard 20-odd pages. But I'm up to date so far. I haven't read this one yet. I only got it a couple weeks ago, but as for Canto so far, I'm up to date, and I'm still really enjoying it. I think like the initial, love that you have in the first one, where from when we did it on the Nerded, it was just I just loved it. I loved the first one. It was so good. The really subtle ways that they merged, Dante's Inferno with Wizard of Oz. I thought it was, genius and so subtle and just great. So it was that kept me reading on, and now that has kind of died off. I'm not, obviously I know that's happened now, and I'm not as infatuated with that as I was at the start. But it's really good again because you're seeing current relationships grow, you're seeing new relationships form, you're seeing how other like Wizard of Oz references pop up, and you're just seeing everything just beef out a bit and just get a bit more meat on everything, and it's just great. And I'm just loving everything Canto at the moment. I'll show it again. It's just great, and I think there's only going to be one more volume, and I'm assuming that because of the whole Wizard of Oz thing. Each volume seems to focus on the heart for the lion, the brain for the Tin Man, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to assume there's one more volume, and then they better bring an Omni out because I'll get it.
Yeah, I'm the same. They will bring a deluxe hardcover of some sort. It's IDW, isn't it? Yeah, and their hardcovers are usually pretty premium, pretty good.
Yeah.
I love Canto. Again, I've only read the first 2 trades, the first two volumes, whatever. I'm not up to date. The second one didn't hit the same mark as the first one, obviously. But the first one was a lovely. If the first one was it, that had one standalone story and that was it, I'd be happy with that as well. It was just a lovely kind of story. Rich, have you read Canto?
No, it's one that I know I'll enjoy, and I have read a couple of other things by David Boer. So I even like his writing, and I love that style of fantasy story as well. So I know I'll enjoy it. It's just one that is just forever on my list that I never really get to.
It'd be great for
your
the
version
kids.
of Firepower. Is it?
You what?
Your version of Firepower for us. Like we want to read it, but we'll just get to it at some point.
Yeah. I don't know. There's some books you have on your list that are like you're desperate to read now, but then there's some that, well, I know I'll like that, and I know I'll be able to buy it whenever. So, when I have a gap and I'm not buying in new things and whatever, then I'll eventually pick it up.
Yeah, it'll be great for the kids. When they're a bit older, it's that kind of story. Like you'll enjoy it, and then they'll enjoy it as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to build a little library of things that I can sort of start reading with kids when they're old enough.
Yeah.
As far as I can remember, there's still due to be an animated series of Kanto at some point. I'm not sure how far down production they are, if have they even started to make this yet, or just been kind of greenlit or whatever. But there's going to be an animated show, I believe. Just wonder when that'll be. Hopefully not too far. But like David Boer's obviously a friend of the show. We had him on the live stream that night. We read the Kanto Volume 1. He was there,
Yeah.
Good pal of ours. But Rain is one I think you've read recently, isn't it? And that was with Zoe Thorogood art, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I mean, he was adapting another story on that one of Joe Hill's stories, so it's a little bit different. But it was. I haven't read the original story, and the writing was really good. But he's also randomly just written the most recent Firefly arc. So that's the other single issues I always buy is Firefly, and I think that's pretty much the last arc for now. I don't think they have any more planned, and they had him on to write it.
Were you a fan of the TV show Firefly?
Yes.
Okay, because don't leave the stream like I was not a fan of that for some reason. It never hit with me. I know a lot of people have a cult following for it because it was cancelled so early, and then they released that movie Serenity. Is that the movie?
Yeah.
But I couldn't ever get into Firefly.
Yeah, I mean, I know we don't really mention his name anymore, but I was a fan of. I was a Joss Whedon obsessive. I love Buffy. I love Angel. Love Firefly. Anything else he's done up until now he's probably not going to do much else. But yeah, so I've got all of the Buffy single issues from season 8 onwards. All the Angel ones, Firefly, Dollhouse.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Nice.
But now they're not worth anything because.
But Buffy's something I wish I had got into because I was a huge fan of the show and I was never reading comics at that time. But my understanding is, whenever the TV show ended, the comics just continued from the TV show.
There was some that were coming out sort of as the TV show was coming out, like the original Dark Horse stuff. But I never read any of that, and apparently the quality is a bit up and down. But then, after it all finished, they got Joss on board and started writing. Okay, this is season 8, so it follows on from the last TV series, season 7. So for me, those are in my canon. So I'd count that as part of the whole thing. So I think Boom have released a newer series, haven't they? Like more recently, but I didn't get into that because for me it's just not a part of my Buffy, as it were, and I needed to cut off somewhere.
Yeah, it's even like the library editions, the hardcovers and things like of the Buffy books are just ridiculously priced on eBay and the aftermarket. So I'll never get them. I could read them digitally, I suppose, but it's just the same thing. I've got that much to read that Buffy just kind of doesn't ever fall under the list. But Scott, do you want to go with your second? Go with your next?
Yeah, my next one. Speaking of Boom, not something I have read yet, or I didn't get the singles, but purely on it because there was hype for the very beginning, and the synopsis sounded really cool. It's Grimm. By Stephanie Phillips. I've not read anything from her yet, but she has written she's written 2 issues for Silver Coin. Like it's kind of like an anthology series, and I have all 3 volumes of Silver Coin. Have I read them? No. But this sounds really, really cool. Essentially, it's like, woman dies, but she's, this is just the beginning kind of thing. So, I think like the afterlife, and especially when it comes to like death stuff like this, and when it comes to Reapers and this, I feel like this is sort of like legend mythology kind of thing. It's that kind of stuff really interests me. When we talk about souls and things like that. I'm like, oh, I'm in. It sounds great. And it's not very big. This only gets the first 5 issues, so I'm really looking forward to getting into it. And I feel like I could get it through, get through it in just an hour or two. But it's just putting that time aside and putting it in the queue and seeing the priority of this. Where does it land in the queue? But yeah, no, I don't think I've read anything from the other people in the team as well. So you got Flaviano illustrated it, Rico Renzi colored it, and Tom Napolitano lettered it. But you must have heard about this.
Yeah, I did think that sounded good. It hasn't quite made it onto like my list, but it's definitely one I've heard of and thought sounded good. But I'm the same. I just quickly Googled Stephanie Phillips, and I don't think I've read anything by her.
I think she's relatively new in the scene. She does a few DC books.
Yeah,
I believe
Harley Quinn.
she's the Harley Quinn and Batgirls, I believe, and then I think she's due to do the Cosmic Ghost Rider for Marvel, which is in the next few months. I think that's who it is. Could be wrong.
Just having a quick look through the earliest thing I can find that she's done. She wrote 5 issues for Detective Comics in 2016.
Okay, cool.
That was it. That's the earliest stuff.
Yeah, the Grim. It's one of the ones I was collecting the single issues off. I've dropped it now, not because it was bad, because I'm trying to cut my pull list. The trades only. I can't remember too much about it, being honest, but it's. I remember enjoying it in terms of she's the Grim Reaper, but they all have a purpose. But she doesn't know her purpose, and it's her kind of finding that. But it's just really cool, and you're right. The stuff you're referring to,
great.
I'll take those boxes. It should do anyway.
Fantastic.
I remember picking up as well a few of the Jenny Frisson covers of that series, and they're just beautiful covers.
Did you get that on Forbidden Planet then?
The covers?
No, sorry, Scott. The trade.
Yeah, I pre-ordered it. Yeah, because that was the one that's the normal cover, but then they brought out like another one a couple of weeks before that. It was I can't remember.
Boom tend to do strange things because it's not because I just looked it up on Amazon and it's not out on Amazon until March 30th. But yeah, comic shops tend to get it always a lot sooner. But then they also often release a comic shop exclusive cover, don't they, as well?
Yeah. No, I have noticed that before because I waited ages for my Once and Future Deluxe because I had a W.H. Smith voucher and it ended up being like £18 or something like that for altogether. So I used that and had to wait that extra bit of time whilst everyone on Instagram was getting their copies and putting the photos up. And I was like, oh my God, this is like one of my favorite series. And you're killing me, man. And like, all because I wanted to save £12. And that was it. Phil, what do you have?
Glenn, say hello to Glenn, first of all. And Connie is away for some pints.
Have fun.
Where's our invite? We could have went for pints. See, this is where I feel like I cheat whenever I have asked you guys to come on and talk about pickups and recent reads, because I haven't actually picked anything up in the month of January. The reason being, it's my birthday next month. I've sent my wife a few links to things I want, like subtle hints. When I say subtle hints, it's the link to the book. Like if she doesn't get those hints, I don't know what she would get to. I think. But I did pick a few things up towards the end of December, which we didn't talk about in the live stream. So I thought I'll just showcase some of them here. And one of them, I know Scott, you got this as well. That's the Go-Go Power Rangers book 1 by Ryan Parrott and a whole bunch of others, Dan Moore on art. I haven't got the many more from Power Rangers year 1 and year 2, or in fact, I don't have the other ones. This is the only Power Rangers book I have.
Mate.
But I'm going to pick them up, the ones that are available, and I'm hoping to God at some stage they reprint year 1 and year 2 of MMPR.
And Shattered Grid. That's the hard one. Yeah. And
then they've solicited book or year 2 of this. I think it's July or August, possibly.
June.
Okay, even sooner.
Yeah.
So I spoke
that's
to
it
Scott.
then. That's it for the Go-Go. It'll just be those 2 done. Yeah. It's only
Oh,
32
okay.
issues.
Yeah, because would that be the end of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as well? Because they rebooted things, didn't they?
Yeah,
They kind of
so
renamed things.
the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger hardcovers that have come out already, that's it for the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers run. They've now printed all of the hardcovers, all the deluxes for them. And it's after Necessary Evil Part 2, that hardcover, that's when things split up. And that gets split for 6 volumes each into Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers, so 12 volumes in total. And then after that, it's getting merged again back together to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Okay, that's fine. Because I think Scott, you've probably lost patience with me the amount of times I have asked about this, like about the
Go
Mighty
on.
Morphin Power Ranger stuff, because
Yeah.
you keep telling, here's your reading order, here's what you need to read
Yeah.
first.
Send you the
But
reading order.
I literally have no idea. Like, I just know that I feel like I want the series to end. I'll collect all the books and I'll just sit down one day and just power through all of it. Yeah,
Nice,
like that.
good. Yeah, like the reading order is very important when you get to the events. Mighty Morphin and Go-Go, they have to be like, you could read them separately, but you may forget and what's going on. But I would just recommend, because they were brought out. It was like a Mighty Morphin single issue would come out, and then 2 weeks later, Go-Go would come out, and then 2 weeks later, Mighty Morphin would come out, and they would work like that, and you could read them whilst they would series in different timelines. They would work together in some ways. For me, that was really interesting. And it's just great. Just it's just the nostalgia based around all the Power Ranger stuff, and it was cool that they built on that and slightly matured it in a way, but just hit all these different nostalgic little buttons that that everyone our age now, maybe a bit younger, maybe a bit older, that just love the Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you read any of this?
I loved the Power Rangers, but I haven't read any, and I feel like I have missed the boat. Like, especially as a trade paperback reader, there's a lot of trade paperbacks to be finding, and the reading order's even harder with the trades. I feel.
Yeah, I think there was 9 for Go-Go, and I want to say 14 or 15 for Mighty Morphin. Trade.
Some of them you can't get anymore. Sure, you can't.
No.
Go-Go Volume 4 is about 70 quid. Well, that's how much I sold mine for.
For a trade paperback,
because that was like out of print, and because that was a really important part of the Shattered Grid story. I think Volume 1 for Go-Go, I think that was, at the time I looked at it, it was about 20 quid. But then every other volume is okay. But it was just Volume 4 that is just really hard to get a hold of.
And can you still get any of the earlier ones from like the Forbidden Planet, like still like brand new type of thing, or is it all aftermarket?
Some are on Forbidden Planet still, but they're like the odd ones. You may get like 9 and then 5 and then 2, but not necessarily any order.
Yeah. That would frustrate me, I suppose. And you're right, maybe trying to hunt them all down. If you're not willing to part with £70 for one trade paperback, which is madness.
Someone snapped it up so quick when I put it on.
Well done for selling that, but can you none of us three? I'd safe to say none of us three would ever pay that for a trade paperback.
Well, let's just say selling that book funded me to buy the 3 deluxes that I needed.
There you go.
And it's mental. It is mental. It's just paper.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like the same with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that I'd kind of missed the boat. Again,
with the IDW
covers and the trades were a bit. There were so many of them, and reading order was difficult. But they've started drip feeding basically the deluxe editions, but in a paperback.
There's 2 now, isn't it? The first 2.
They released 1. Just to kind of, I think they were just seeing if it would sell as a paperback, and then they didn't announce anything for ages. And then, the second one came out. I think it was just before Christmas. I've got it in, but I haven't read it yet. and then they haven't announced another one yet. I'll read for as long as they're releasing theirs, and I'll be fine.
Because I'm kind of, I have the intention, certainly anyway, to collect all the hardcover of that TMNT IDW stuff. I have the first 5. And I always thought, they're called Evergreen, they're always going to be in print, blah, blah, blah. But since they started doing the paperbacks, I've noticed they are not always in print in the hardcover.
Right.
So I'm starting to sweat a little bit. I think the next one, number 6, you can get fairly cheap, even brand new, like books, etc., for like £30 or just less than £30. But some of the rest of them are £40-50. I don't want to pay that for it. Because all the other ones I paid for so far have all been around late 20s, early £30 mark, and that's where I'm happy to go.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to pay 40 or 50, and I worry that if I don't pay it, I'll never get it because they maybe will focus on the paperback side of things. So I just need to try and stay a few books ahead of the paperback. So they're like volume 2. I just need to try and stay where I am. So I'll just get the next one, and I'll just try and get one every so often, just so I don't fall behind and never get them. But I kind of worry about me not getting that full collection. I think I'll stop, to be fair, volume 13 because they changed the creative team on the TMNT stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
I feel like that's a natural place to end. Plus, from my understanding, you can fit 13 perfectly in a Kallax cube.
Nice.
So,
Stop now.
That's
you don't want to buy one more and just have it in the next cube, do you? No.
Because they all have that kind of like katana. What you call
so nice.
Yeah, they're really cool. They're really cool spines and stuff. Yeah.
Even the paperbacks have those spines. They're not quite as like nicely textured and obviously not oversized, but yeah.
Turtles is really good. I really enjoyed. I've only read the first. Have I read the first? I definitely read the first 2. Have I read the third one? I can't remember. Once upon a time, I was planning on doing like a monthly video.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah. And
I only released one of them, so maybe I'll do the rest of the volumes at some point. Chris is saying that 12 fit in the calendar. Maybe that's where I was confused. But you can fit one on top, which isn't quite the same, but it's still 13.
That's not on me. That's really bad shelf etiquette.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Highland G is asking, have I read Captain America yet? No, and I was going to, but now they've announced Volume 4 being reprinted. I feel like I want to wait till we get a Volume 5. I know Highland G said you don't need to. This the first 3 volumes is pretty much the main, a story on its own type of thing. But I will get around to it. I might do a read along or something because I know Martin's the same boat as me. Maybe we could read it together and do a wee video on it. Yeah, just do a wee video on the Nerd Herd about a read along. It's a good idea. Cool. He is commenting saying there's always one of the hardcovers that are tough to get. At the time, Volume 5 and 9 was a pain to get. Again, I think because it's evergreen, but it's in no order. Like it's not like they have them in sequential order, the ones they print at the time. I think they just print what's short or what's sold out, obviously. That could be whatever number, and then obviously whenever the stock gets low, and that's where they up the price. At least that's what I'm hoping for. I don't want to have to, arse about trying to find different volumes, and I know you can get the later ones fairly cheap now too. I am tempted to buy them first and just build up the collection and go back. No. And Highland G said I'm making excuses again. Yeah, it is an excuse. But it's just, this is the thing. I was speaking with Martin a few weeks ago, and with the Nerd Herd, obviously we created a list of books we're going to read for the whole year, 52 books, whatever it was. Yep. So we're that far in advance. So I was thinking to myself, I could do that as well for my own personal reading, because I do like a list.
Yeah.
If I'm at home doing some DIY or something, I write a list of tasks and tick them off as I go out. That's just what I like to do that. So I should really do it for books, and I keep meaning to. But I'll sit down and I'll have that list. And I'll include some TMNT onto that list as well, and the cap stuff. Yeah. You guys don't write lists or anything, do you? You're not that kind of
all up here, baby.
Because I have the pile, like nothing unread goes onto the shelves. I mean, not that I have shelves right now, because obviously this is the room where the shelves are going to go when we've finally decorated it.
That's a lot of space, mate.
But yeah, that was my rule when I had shelves. So nothing gets shelved until it's been read.
So where do they just pile them up? Where do you pile them?
Again, when I had shelves, I had a TBR shelf.
Right.
At the moment, there's just a shelf in my wardrobe with just a stack.
That shelf is just bowing. It's like
Well, no, because I think if you do that, if you do that to yourself, give yourself a space, and this is my TBR shelf.
Yeah.
And I so I don't let that stack get too big. I'm always reading from that stack and then putting into that stack, and it never gets too big.
Perpetually the same.
one of the videos I did last create on my own channel was a shelf tour or a shelf collection video or some sort, and my Kallax pretty much is my TBR. There's very little in that Kallax is actually read, which is it's a sin. I know it. I really should kind of get my arse in gear and read more, but but now that I've kind of calmed down on buying stuff, this is the year of reading. 2023 is not the year of the rabbit; it's the year of reading.
Nice.
So that's what we're gonna do.
Great.
Glenn sent here his Omnis is it keeps piling up. I think he said he got 7 this month alone.
Getting
So
loads, man.
yeah.
That's so much. That's mental. Well done.
Yeah, looks good though.
Yeah.
Speaking of Omnis, then, so my next pickup again, I'm not sure I mentioned this. I don't think I did. This is something I've been waiting for to get quite a while, and it was on Speedy Hand for I think it was £42-43, like free delivery, but it was out of stock for so long. Everywhere else had it in stock, but for £60, I didn't want to pay the extra money, so it finally came in just before Christmas, and that is Gotham Central.
Nice.
By Ed Brubaker, Greg Rucka, and Michael Lark. Again, I haven't read it. It's still sealed, like most of my omnibuses and stuff. But it obviously get them. You have read it, Rich, because I know you had it in some trade paperbacks recently. I just like the idea if it's around the Gotham City PD and not so much Batman. It's all the other stuff that goes within Gotham. Again, written by Brubaker and Greg Rucka. You know you're in for a treat when it comes to like kind of crime noir kind of with it, and just looking forward to dive into that.
It's just like watching a TV show, like a proper police gritty sort of cop show. It's really good. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Have you read the whole thing? Have you just a few trade paperbacks in? Or?
Yeah, I actually got them off Chris. He's sent me them when he upgraded to the omnibus.
Nice.
Yeah, I think there was 4 trade paperbacks. But it's just all really. There's no ups and downs. It's just all solid and really good.
Is it again Ed Brubaker and Greg Rucka? You know you're kind of getting some kind of darkish kind of tones, I suppose. Would it be quite dark? Dark
it's the best sort of realistic. I think gritty DC book you're going to get, really.
Nice. Now, I look forward to that. Like obviously with DC, everyone just straight away thinks Batman. I'm a huge Batman fan, but Batman can be quite. It can be dark too, obviously, but I find the other DC stuff a bit strange, a bit wacky at times, like the Justice League stuff. But I'm looking for the kind of like realistic, kind of ground level, gritty, dark, all that kind of stuff. So I'm looking forward to reading that.
I like the stuff. I mean, I like Batman, obviously. Who doesn't? But
Scott.
It's not that I don't like Batman. I just can't read a lot of it in one go. It's just Batman is a mood, you know, and I can't put myself in that mood for too long of a period. I think that's what it is.
I quite like all the books around Batman that don't include Batman, like Gotham Central, where he does appear in it, but he's like the myth of Batman is almost like bigger than the character himself.
The legend of Batman.
Sort of stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
Craig Stewart has joined us. So hey, how are you?
Hello.
And Chris has commented there too to say it's the most like a gritty cop drama with Gotham and the Batman Rogues Gallery twisted in there, but many other dangers. Yeah, I mean, I'm. It's one of the ones that, for my birthday, I've asked for Dark Knight's Metal, and there's very few books that I actually will read straight away. That will be one of them. But this, I think, I'm going to add to my list to read sooner than half the stuff that's on that Calyx. Not that stuff's bad. It's just like I really want to get into this because I like the idea of Gotham Central. So that will hopefully be read.
It's like everything you've got appeals to you, but that appeals to you more.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
Yes, Craig, we are still showing off our pickups. We're in our end, so that's a good kind of half to the show.
Speed it up then, is it?
Yeah, well, no, it's just, I mean, I could be here for 4 hours, as you well know.
But we won't.
I'll be solo. In an hour from now, I'll be solo. Do you have other pickups, or do you want to go into recent reads? Or
I've got 2 more.
Right,
We'll
do another round.
All of the rest of my books fall into both categories, really. So,
right. Well, then we'll do Scott's too, and then we'll go to Rich, and then that will get us into the recent read stuff.
Great.
Is that okay?
Okay. This one arrived today, which is great. Strange Academy Year 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of you might be asking a question about the run and why they have put 12 issues into a book and they've gone, but there's only 18 issues in Strange Academy. I looked into this because I was having a discussion with Alid from Alid Likes Comics, and he said the same thing, and I was like, I didn't know about this because I've not read Strange Academy and I knew nothing about it, and I was like, oh crap, I'm not going to have to get this and then get like a trade to finish the rest off. So I looked into it, and whilst this isn't confirmed, this is what I think is going to happen. They're going to have issues 13 to 14, 13 to 18, but then after that they released Strange Academy Final Year, which is 6 issues.
Okay.
So there's your 12. So maybe that'll be the year 2.
But then, what was just, I don't know, it's just the title of the book. They've called that first one, like, is that called First Year or First Class?
Year 1.
Year 1.
Yeah.
So then you've got the next 6 issues
that the books came out.
Yeah, so the next 6 issues are Year 2. And then you've got a final year, because the last 6 are called Final Year. So is that 3 years in total?
Well, no, but I don't think of it as in year 1 of school. Think of it as in 12 issues, 1 per month. That's 1 year.
Okay.
But it's not, because it's supposed to be like a yearbook. That's the idea of the design, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I've not read it. I just like the fact that it's Doctor Strange. So, you know,
it's a really good read.
I'm looking forward to it, and I would have bought it earlier if they didn't bring out the tiny books for the other volumes.
See, I did buy the tiny one, assuming it was a normal site. Like, this is where you buy things kind of blind. I don't really look at what you're actually buying. I bought the tiny one, and it must be for younger audiences to obviously read. And I read it, and for the first volume anyway, is actually very good. I think you'll enjoy it, Scott. I think you know what you like, kind of thing. You will definitely enjoy that.
Yeah, man knows what I like. But this now has been slotted into my Doctor Strange reading order, because I have bought everything from Jason Aaron onwards. I even managed to get the really hard to get trades for quite a steal on Facebook. I'm really grateful for that. But this fits in just after issue 5 of the Surgeon Supreme run. I think that's Mark Waid. So when this goes back in the shelf, I'll be slotting it right in there. And then, it comes before the death of Doctor Strange. So,
nice.
You see, I haven't read Death of Doctor Strange, which I probably should do because I know it ties in.
Yeah.
So, but reading Strange Academy on its own, it's got Strange in the name, but that's about it. He hasn't got much else to do with it.
So you can read it standalone.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. It's good to know. If I get bored, I'll just start it.
There was a lot of hype around that book when it came out in single issues, but again, I don't know if it was so much about the story was very good. I don't know if it's because there was obviously a ton of first appearances, like all these obviously younger characters.
Yeah.
People went mad for thinking this is the first appearance of such and such. In 5-10 years' time, they could be in a movie or whatever, blah blah blah. But I think you will enjoy it. And Highland G brings up a good point. They did release a hardcover. We only had the first 6 issues.
Yeah,
and that was only the last 2 months. Maybe it wasn't that long ago that they brought that out. And me, at the time assumed that hardcover would have the first 18 issues. So I was
Yeah.
really disappointed to see that it didn't. It is, as Glenn says here, should be called strange releases because it has been strange that they've done it.
Yeah.
To do the small size paperbacks followed by a hardcover that only has 6 issues duplicated.
Plus the Panini cover
And
Panini
then-
issues.
Yeah,
And
the
then a
Panini
soft
ones were
cover
actually
of,
the best route.
yeah, and then a
Yeah.
soft cover of 12 issues.
12 issues of an 18 issue run. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
they've just gone about it a bit strange.
But if they're going to do a year 1, I feel like the year 2 will be those 6 issues, the last 6 issues, and then the next 6 issues.
You would hope so.
Yeah, I hope
Yeah.
anyway, because otherwise I'll be pissed.
Scotty Young, obviously. Who's the artist on it? I forget the artist.
Roberto Ramos.
Oh, yeah, Roberto Ramos.
Yes.
That's the one. Yeah. And it looks really well. I think you'll enjoy it. Very much so.
I think I will as well.
Good pick up.
Because I've paid money for it.
So you definitely will.
So I will.
You'll
enjoy
make
it.
yourself like that
Yeah.
book. Yeah.
So my next pick now requires me to not go to the gym after picking it up because it's huge. Here it is. This is my biggest omnibus, biggest book ever to date. It's War of the Realms by Jason Aaron. Slots right into the big Jason Aaron run that we were talking about earlier on. Should I hold it up again? 62 issues in here. 62 issues. It's huge. And it's really heavy. I have no idea how I'm going to read it because I remember saying, like, I'm never going to pick up omnibuses because when they're this big, I'm going to have to sit at a desk to read it, and I like to, read comfy in a chair or in bed or something. I'm not going to be able to hold that above my face in bed. It'll knock me out. So, but this, I did have this at a steal. To be fair, like I said earlier, Martin messaged me a week or two ago with this link, and he says, "Look, it's on sale." And RRP for this book is £104. Forbidden Planet was selling it originally for £72, and then it went on sale then for £57. That's less than £1 per issue. Like I said earlier, price per issue with bigger books like this can be way better than buying them all in single issues. Really happy I bought it. The only stuff I've read from the Jason Aaron stuff is the God Butcher, and
Jane Foster.
Yeah, and then the Jane Foster run. So what's that, like 15 or 18 issues? I can't remember how many it is, but that's how many I've read so far. But this just really intrigued me. I've never read, though, to be fair, the last big event thing I ever read was Flashpoint, and that's like 75 issues. So I'm a sucker for tie-ins.
That's a walk in the park for you then. That's nice.
Nothing. 13 issues less, easy, get done in 10 minutes. Yeah, but I'm excited. Just the art on the cover looks great. That is true.
It's a good salesman, isn't it?
It does sound like a bit of a pitch, doesn't it? But yeah, it's still. I'll keep going. It's still cheaper than now. You could go over right there, right now, and buy the book. But yeah, I'm really pleased I got it. But that is my picks for January. Just
regarding your reading style on an omnibus, I think Glenn's mentioned here he has an omni stand on a table. Now, what I will say, I've done that too. And I was actually watching the Comic Slayer. You mentioned the Comic Slayer before. They had a Christmas stream with her dad and showed their pickups. And they have this thing called a flippy. And it's like a cushioned. It's for tablets or laptops or whatever. So it's like a cushion, but it's the way it's shaped and has the wee kind of indent. So they put their books on the flippy on their knee. Now, I sit in this lounger beside me or behind me here with my feet up and a cushion underneath the book. And it actually is really comfortable. You're right. You couldn't lie in bed with that. You'd end up knocking yourself out or doing yourself some damage. But sitting with your feet up, cushion underneath with an omnibus, it actually is quite comfortable.
I'll give that a go. I'll let you know.
I thought I had another comment there somewhere. Craig Stewart's asking, and if you guys read No Man's Land, it just finished up Nightfall. So I'm starting that soon. No, it's something I want to read. I know there's the road to No Man's Land I've been told to avoid. So and Nightfall, Nightfall's where Bane breaks Batman's back, and I've read part of that story, but not the whole thing. So it's like 3 kind of big volumes.
I think I might have read like the main Nightfall story, like 6 issues or something. I think I have, but I can't remember.
some more advice for you there, Scott.
I know. Just man up. Put my knees up in bed and man up.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris. I will. I'm sorry.
I do my pickups. I'll do of one more. Actually, then we'll go to Rich. Then we'll just do the read.
Okay.
Again, don't know if I put this up. It's on my Instagram. Venom. This is the Donny Cates Venom omnibus. This is a big boy as well. It's not quite 62 issues, but it's not far off it because it has 1 to 35 of Venom. It has quite a few one shots. It's probably around 45, 48 issues. This is what got me into Venom, and Scott, you know, I'm a big Venom fan, so I've went back and read a lot of stuff. So, yeah, exactly. So this got me into it, and I've went back and read all of the older stuff. But this is phenomenal. The art's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Rand Stegman, this I don't know what he's done before, but I can imagine this is probably his best ever work because if he'd done this work all the time, I think I would have heard of him before. So I think it's just phenomenal stuff. This is the introduction of Null. Who bit of controversy if you are a Venom fan. Donny Cates retconned what the planet Clintar is. It's not a planet. It was like essentially a cage. It was all the symbiotes kind of forming around Null to keep him in because he was deadly type of thing. Right. So he gets released through by Carnage with the Absolute Carnage event. Comes to Earth, tries to destroy everything, and obviously doesn't. But it's just, this was fantastic. It's dark, it's gritty, it's fun and bombastic. There's a bit of cosmic stuff in there. They go to alternate universes, and Eddie Brock and his son Dylan Brock's introduced in this as well. And it's just really, really good fun. And I would recommend everyone read it, to be honest. I know you won't, Scott, unless it's on the Nerd Herd, but I just would definitely recommend that gets read. You wouldn't read much Venom, would you, Rich? You have never seen Venom on your Instagram?
I mean, I wouldn't not read it. I wouldn't avoid it. Back when I was buying single issues, I absolutely would have picked that up because I used to read a lot of Spider-Man. But I probably won't get to it, and all the tie-ins to the big event. I just felt were a bit overpowering.
Overwhelming, isn't it?
Yeah.
I read two
you would have read the
minis from around the time. One of them was Beta Ray Bill, which obviously they just shoehorned it in at the beginning. And then there was another one called The Union, which was supposed to tie into a different event like 6 months earlier, but it got delayed, and so they basically made the writer rewrite the first issue so that it could tie in with this Venom event.
It was X-Men, I think it was meant to be part of, I believe. Was that
some kind
the
of
Union?
Yeah.
But that's the one where I think I mentioned to you, Scott, that had an English, a Welsh, a Scottish, and an Irish hero.
Yeah.
And I have a funny feeling, was the Welsh one called Snakes or something?
No,
or
the Welsh one was called Choir.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you obviously Googled this up because you were proud of it.
Yeah, but I'm not too much anymore. I looked. I can't remember what it was now, but I wasn't too pleased with it. Get back to me. I'll look it up now.
Yeah.
It was written by a British cartoonist who I've got loads of his own stuff, self-published stuff. So that's the only reason I got it. But it was written for an American audience, so it was very overdoing the the British and the whatever tropes.
Yeah, I think. See, with the Venom run in total, they had the Absolute Carnage event, which wasn't meant to be an event, but Marvel being Marvel, they wanted to cash in and have all these tie-ins. The tie-ins after that, I know Chris thinks differently. I think the tie-ins for Absolute Carnage were actually okay. Where some of the stuff for the Keenan Black event at the end, which ended this run, they were just I couldn't even finish them, to be honest. I was picking everything up in single issues. I just gave me the full thing, and there was quite a few towards the end I just gave up on because I just couldn't. I have them, I bought them, whatever, but I just couldn't read them because they were rubbish. Which is why I didn't pick up the Keenan Black omnibus, which is completely daft the way they've done it. have Venom and King and Black Omnibus out the same kind of time, I think a month apart. But the tie-ins for that were pretty poor. But the Venom run 1 to 35 and a few of the one shots, I'd recommend 100%. Pete's here, sorry, saying, "Sup nerds, sorry I've been playing with new toys and lost track of time." That's not good enough. Pete's a good lad, but his toys, he gets the 1/6 scale stuff frightens me because I am tempted to get into them, but I just know that I'll never buy another comic again because I can't afford it after buying figures. Kevin is saying about the Ryan Stegman art. He's a big fan. Check out Vanish, which I have been picking up, to be fair, because it was the same team as Venom, so I've been picking that up. Barney's really good, so it could be something maybe on your trade wish list going forward for you two. Not sure. Yeah, I think we're caught up in comments. We're having a wee chat with one another. That's good to see. Enjoy it. All right.
So shall I do my kind of like segue from recent reads to pick up recent reads?
That's the one. You go for that, please.
I'll still be here. I'm just going to turn my camera off because I'm going to go pick up some of my recent reads.
Okay. So I'll do my two most mainstream, which is a couple of DC books. So, Nightwing. So volume 2, depending on who you're talking to, because they did volume 1, and then what's really volume 2, they just titled Fear State because it's tying to the Fear State, and then so this, which is actually the 3rd volume, they've titled volume 2. So you can just ignore the Fear State stuff if you want. But anyway, the main story, volume 1 and volume 2, is really, really good. I think everybody knows that. I don't really need to.
Does that volume contain the issue that has like the sequential story? The not kind of.
Yeah. I mean that.
Yeah, that's the one.
You can tell, but you can see him running across the bridge, and he's getting changed as he's climbing a ladder at the top, and I'd kind of love to see every page side by side in one really long.
Do you know they've done that?
Yeah.
Sorry, is that what you were going to say?
No, but I know what you're going to say. You do yours first.
It's in Spain.
Mm-hmm.
They laid it all out on a wall in Spain. So yeah, you could literally go and see it if you wanted to.
See, I forgot about that, but they have done that. What I was going to say, if you go into my local comic book store's Instagram at Coffee and Heroes, he's actually cut it all up and put it along the floor and taped it on, so you could just see it in one big shot on the floor. Don't know how that works. I don't think he's laminated it. I haven't been in since, because I like to think people wouldn't step on it. It's just on the floor. But yeah, so check out their Instagram if you want to see that full 26 page, whatever it is, of this one continuous shot. And it's really clever. It must have been really hard to kind of put together.
Yeah, and I think if they wanted to see the one that I'm talking about, there it is. It's on Tom Taylor's Instagram.
Is it pinned? Like a pinned?
No, but it's not too long. If you literally scroll down a little bit, it's there. I'll see if I can show you now. You can just see it's literally like a whole wall. Like those, that's Tom Taylor right there, tiny. And they've done it like a huge wall. They've done the whole comic on a big wall.
Bruno Redondo's the artist, and I think I've never heard of him before this, but the art's phenomenal, and I really love the color palette. Like Scott, I'm quite fond of pinks and purples. There's a lot of pinks and purples in this.
Yeah. And it's just a lot of fun. It's not the deepest of reads. There's not like a massive amount of substance to it, but the relationship between Dick and Barbara Gordon and Wally West features in it, and Jonathan Kent. There's loads of cameos from all these Titans buddies, and it's just a really again, it's another fun read, but it's good like interpersonal relationships for a DC book, which you don't often get.
Yeah.
And Tom Taylor's going to be writing a new Titans book soon. He's announced. So yeah. I mean, from reading this and all the relationships that he's got with his Titans buddies, I'll be looking at that when it comes out.
Because issue 100, the single issue, just came out last week or the week before, and I think there was some of the Teen Titans were involved in that. Obviously, being a landmark issue. Actually, hadn't realized he's going to write Teen Titans, which again makes sense that he has them in his issue 100. Teen Titans is something that, other than the Teen Titans Go cartoon, I know nothing about, but I would be excited to read that. So, yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah, because they don't call them Teen Titans anymore, obviously, because they're not teens. Yeah. So they're just the Titans. Yeah. And I think they do still have a Teen Titans book for. I don't know who's in it.
Not sure. Scott, did you ever pick up the first volume of that? I know you wanted to, but you didn't want the hardcover.
Nah, I didn't want the hardcover because at the time I was just all trade. So for the shelf aesthetic, I wanted to keep with that. But
I don't understand DC. Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody does, but
they must bring it
after I picked that up, I was like, oh, I'm up for reading some more. So I thought I might get the Robin series that they did.
Paperback.
The paperback. And then so I was like, well, I'm buying those in hardcover, and now I don't want to buy the paperbacks because I've kind of got that going in the hardbacks. I mean, that's just me being silly. I've got plenty of DC paperbacks I could put it next to, but I just don't know what the decisions they make.
Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason really with the DC's releases, is there? They don't seem to have I
think maybe it's just based on. I reckon it's based on sales of the singles, like the popularity of the singles. They can go, all right, okay, chuck it in the hardback first. We get more money for that, and then everyone who wants to go, no, I'll wait for the paperback. Then they can buy that later. So we make the same money, well, more money for the same thing.
It does make sense doing it that way around, I think. But I just think if you're going to do it with one, you might as well do it with all. So then
exactly,
because the ones that if you're buying the hardbacks, a lot of those that get released in paperback first won't go into standard size hardback. They'll go only to deluxe, if anything.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Highland G, he rates the Robin series quite highly. I think he's a big fan of that.
Yeah. I'd quite like to read the Batgirls one as well that Becky Cloonan was doing. I ain't got around to it. So my other one, another DC book, recent pickup and recent read.
I want this
on my Instagram recently. Catwoman Lily City. I mean, I'm basically just buying any of the DC Black Label that are in this kind of oversized.
Like magazine size, aren't they?
Yeah, so that's the standard hardback, and it's a lot
like Harleen.
Yeah. It's Harleen.
Yeah. And the quality of the stories, there's been some really good ones, and then there's been a lot of okay ones. But this one was really good, and this one's really worth picking up. It's a Batman book that doesn't have Batman in it. Batman's dead.
Spoilers.
I mean, that's literally the premise of the book. Catwoman's in jail, and she's sort of released, and it's life after Batman, really, with these old villains who have got arthritis, and there's some really good like dialogue, and I mean, it's Cliff Chang who did Paper Girls, so the art is pretty brilliant. There's lots of purple if you there you go.
Nice. Look, Phil, purple.
But Cliff Chang wrote, drew, coloured, and lettered it, so it's like a full one-man show.
Nice.
So really impressive.
I seen your post on Instagram the other day about this, and kind of made me think, like you mentioned about picking them all up. It's like, why haven't I picked all them up? Because I was getting a few of those in single issues. Like Batman Damned was the first one that came out. I got the singles off that, but they're a real pain in the butt to store. They don't fit in a comic box. You can't put them up right like on your shelf because you still can't see the spine. They're a bit stupid in a single issue format. So I should have just waited there and picked up all the hardcovers. And Craig has mentioned there that there was 2 Suicide Squad ones. There was Suicide Squad Blaze and Suicide Squad Get Joker, I think is the other one. Again, I've heard they're really good as well. So
I've got Get Joker, and I enjoyed that, but it was a bit silly and felt the problem with that format. And I don't know, I'm not an artist or a writer, so I don't understand what the issue is, but there always seems to be a massive delay before the last issue, and it always, on quite a few of them, it's felt like the last issue has been rushed, even though there's been a massive delay. So the ending of that one, just kind of the last sort of issue, it just felt a bit rushed and a bit silly. But I've heard really good things about Blaze, which I will be picking up soon.
Yeah, like I think to be fair, obviously we've read Harleen on the Nerd Herd, and it set the bar quite high of what to expect these Black Label books, and not everything will match that. Well, naturally, it's not going to match that, whatever. But there's been quite a few gems of that Black Label stuff, and again, the format of the book, like the size of the book, lends itself more with a hardcover or a collected edition rather than the single issues. That's what I'm going to pick up for sure for Good Things, and that Suicide Squad one as well. And the other one I liked as well, which was quite strange, was what was that called? Was it Jeff Lemire? Killer Smile? Is that the right?
Yeah.
It was quite a strange one, but like it was really kind of psychological, kind of deep, kind of story almost, and I quite liked it.
Yeah, I liked that one. They suffered a little bit with those Black Label books because there was just so many that they almost felt like they needed to be Batman based. They either had Batman, Joker, or Harley in them, and I mean, even that Catwoman is still a Batman book, really. Like,
I forgot actually. Wonder Woman Dead Earth, which we have read on the Nerd Herd, is another fantastic read from that Black Label collection. I recall Batman Damned when it came out in single issues sold quite well because it had a controversial. It had the bat penis, the bat wang, was on display. So I have 2 copies of that of the bat wang.
Or the Batwing.
Yeah,
there is a Flash one that doesn't have the Flash in it, but it's just
Flash
called.
Wang.
No, not his name. It's, I mean, one of the Black Label books. It's just called Rogues.
yes, I've heard that's good.
Yes, I'm going to be picking that one up soon as well. I haven't read it, but I've heard good things, and it's quite Captain Cold focused.
Oh, nice.
Well, let me know how that goes because I like him.
Yeah, you're a fan.
I am.
All right, is that you up? Is that you done, Rich?
I mean, I could keep going if you want me to keep going, but do you want to do?
Well, we'll move on because I know we're not here for the long haul tonight, even though it's been quite long. So Scott, you give me your reads. I only have one myself.
Okay.
So
well, I'll only show off 2. Okay. Rich should be happy with this, mate. Recent read.
Oh no,
it's not good. Da-na-na-na. So the recent read here was volume 3. So Rich kindly introduced us on the Comic Book Club to volume 1, which I was a big fan of. Really enjoyed it, and then instantly bought all of the volumes so far. We covered volume 2 at the beginning of this month. On the Comic Club, and then I just had to go and read on for volume 3 to see what the hell was going on, and it's still no clearer. But I'm really enjoying it. It's now getting like weird. It's like getting into this realm that I'd never thought it would go to, and I'm now just as intrigued as I was for the first volume, but for a completely different reason now.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to say stuff without spoiling anything, but it's mental. It starts off with a little bit of like a let's say like a murder mystery type thing, but you're following this fashion blogger. Everything's a bit over the top and girly, but that's not my bag usually. But I don't know what it is. There's just so much mystery and intrigue and just interesting characters, and I'm like, I just need to keep following this and see what's happening. And
yeah, I just found the characters just that, like, even though most of them start off being pretty unlikable, but they're kind of fascinating. Like, in that.
Totally.
See, this is the thing, right? So obviously on the Nerd Herd, I didn't score it that high, but we did say it's one of those things. Even though I'm not into it, I do want to know what happens.
Yeah.
So we obviously asked Scott to tell us, and the fact that whenever you did tell us what happened in Volume 3, it wasn't at all what we expected. Like in terms of who's and who's meant to be type whatever. But like, what is it? Where are we going? But now I'm still intrigued to get to the end of the story.
But you're just waiting for me to read Volume 4 whenever it comes out.
Yeah. It was again, it's not that I didn't enjoy it. It's just it wasn't my bag. Like you're saying, it's not your thing.
Yeah.
You obviously there's a level of intrigue that kind of keeps you wanting to know what is going on. Because Volume 2 did get quite weird. What was it? Virgil as the brother.
Virgil, yeah.
And then he, even like you said, like you don't really find out his full kind of story really, or what. There's other people that play. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And I know I'll say, like, Rich, I have to ask, whenever you picked that for the Nerd Herd, did you just do that because I said as a joke on Chris's video, oh, what the hell, Snot Girl? Because I think it was like a few weeks after that you'd picked it for the Nerd Herd, Herd's Choice.
That was what put it into my head. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I'd heard that and it just made me laugh.
Well, you're obviously a big fan of what's that? Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
And it's the same writer, isn't it? Yeah. Brian O'Malley.
Brian Lee O'Malley.
Lee O'Malley, yeah.
But yeah, even Scott in Scott Pilgrim is quite unlikable as a character. I don't know if you guys have read that or not, but he's sort of, he's not unlikable. He's lovable, even though he's an idiot and a bit of a dick. But
and that's what kind of this is.
Yeah,
what Lottie is like in this. Yeah,
because she is a bit of a dick the way she treats people.
Yeah.
But you do feel sorry for her at times as well. Yeah.
And that's clever writing, I think. That's good, to show that the person isn't just a flat.
What I do find weird is that our viewer count just jumped up as soon as you mentioned Snot Girl. It's like the viewers just hit an all-time high.
Good God. There we go. Keep it coming. So I read that a couple of weeks ago. Good one.
It's nothing to be sneezed at.
And no,
she's not. She is a fashioned blogger, TikToker, whatever you want to call.
Literally gets allergies and gets snotty, and her nickname becomes Snot Girl. That's literally it. Back to some sort of normality then. My other recent read, which I finished a couple of days ago, is a Flash story, United They Fall. This contains 2 giants. So 2 5-issue giants, written by Gail Simone.
Oh, nice.
It's a take it or leave it kind of thing. It was fun. The first story kind of was based on the Rogues and the introduction to Amazo. He's like an android, and he used the Rogues to distract the Flash, to be able to build more androids that look just like the Rogues, so Amazo could then implant himself into those Rogues if his original body died. And that was that. And then the second one then is a bit more time travel based, and then this is where you get like the Eobard Thawne, Reverse Flash, where he comes into it. Then always whenever there's a story revolving around Reverse Flash, you're going to get something a bit meaty, and it was. And there was obviously a threat to life then for Flash. But, he's going to get out of it alive. The one thing that did bother me, and I don't really understand when this was set, because I followed a reading order, and I finished my the New 52 run, and then it was like, okay, now you should read United They Fall, and then you should go into the Infinite Frontier stuff. So I did that, but then throughout the whole New 52 run, Iris is a white ginger woman, but then Iris in this is a black woman. So I'm like, why is this changed? Like, when is this set? Am I
When did
reading?
that come out?
Now you're asking. Stand by.
Insert elevator music here.
2020.
I mean, my only reason for asking that is they occasionally do things like that, obviously, because Iris in the TV show is black.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of got to try and appease that crowd. I don't know.
But it was just for these two giants that Gail Simone had written. That's how it was. But that wasn't that's not my main focus on this. It was just the stories were a bit, obviously the giants, and a little bit lacking, but just a bit of fun. So obviously I've read it because I love the Flash. And then after I finished that, then I swiftly moved on to the first volume for the Infinite Frontier stuff. But it's not a volume 1; it's volume 16. It's carrying on straight from the New 52 stuff. And I'm nearly done. You can see my bookmark. Nearly finished. And I'm really enjoying it. And it's kind of setting up for Wally West to take over from Barry Allen.
He's the best Flash. And I just say that to kind of try and wind Scott up, because I actually don't read.
Factually, you are correct.
Oh,
but personally, I like Barry. And that's it.
So
I've read very few Flash stories, and the ones I have read have been things that tie in, like Dark Knight's Death Metal and so on, and it is Wally West. That's kind of why I say that. But the Flash, other than what did we read? Was it Flashpoint we read for the Nerd Herd that time?
Rebirth. Flash Rebirth. Yeah.
And it was okay. It was grand. It's just,
Just on that Flash series, apparently it was originally a Walmart exclusive DC series. So
right.
They do that sometimes in the US. They release comics and they don't go to the comic shops. They go first to Walmart, and they're supposed to, bring in casual comics fans.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of people who would probably see the TV show first, and then I'll pick up a Flash comic.
That's something they done with that. Remember that Superman Up in the Sky, that great book we read, Scott?
Oh, that really good book, yeah.
Yeah, so Superman Up in the Sky, it was a Walmart exclusive. It's like 6 single issues.
Right.
And then they had Batman Universe, again, a Walmart thing. But obviously in the UK, we get them as collected over here.
Just as a little bonus, because this is all about omnibuses, here is my Flash omnibus. So the Francis Man, the Francis Manapul, Brian Pucciato. Nice. There it is. There we go.
Are you going to collect more Flash omnibuses going forward?
From this point on, I'm not going to go back because of money, but I would love it if they released a Joshua Williamson.
So that's before Joshua Williamson?
Yeah, this is New 52. Joshua Williamson is Rebirth.
I know people speak highly of the Jeff Johns books, but I think there's 3 of those, I think, in total.
Yeah.
Nice. Again, I don't mean to crap over the Flash. I actually quite enjoy the Flash from what I've read in it. I just like the wine, Scott.
I am unfazed.
Yeah, I know. It never works. I always feel at it. My recent read, again, is a cheat because I actually haven't read much this month because I'm trying to catch up on my single issues, and I didn't want to bring like single issues and talk about those, Been catch up on Batman and Daredevil and a few of the indie stuff as well. So my recent read is what we read in the Nerd Herd this week.
The other day.
Yeah, just the other day. Because I feel like people need to kind of read this because it looks fantastic. I don't know if you caught the episode, Rich. Have you read this yourself? You read that?
No.
So this is
do it.
Yeah, this is something that Marvel have combined with Abrams comic arts, and it's called Marvel Arts. And Alex Ross wrote, drew, colored.
He didn't letter it though.
He didn't letter it. No, he had help with that.
Yeah,
lazy git. But pretty much it was just all Alex Ross, and the story is where it's a wee simple story almost. Like they kind of go into the negative zone because they're kind of how do you put this? Like someone tries to get at them from the negative zone, so obviously they go in to kind of see what it's all about, and it's very inconsequential. Yeah, can I say this word? Inconsequential.
Yes.
Right word.
Yep.
Where they just go to the negative zone, meet an old familiar face, say hello to him, and then kind of go back. But it's the journey throughout the whole thing, and the artwork is just phenomenal. I'll try and get some cool pages for you to kind of showcase this art. I'll make myself big. How do you do this? Hang on. Oh, sorry. There we go. And I just think some of the stuff is truly phenomenal. And Alex Ross did not do his usual painting style with this. This was penciled. And I've had a problem. Again, I know Pete's in the chat, or he was in the chat, where I kind of criticized Kingdom Come because I didn't like the kind of static of the characters. And I think maybe that the painted art does that to you, where this is a wee bit different, a bit more dynamic art style, and it's just phenomenal. I'm trying to find one where they're in the negative zone, because it was a wee bit kind of strange and wacky, wasn't it? But yeah, I think we all enjoyed this. I think obviously for me the art was the definite winner. It pushed the kind of scores quite high up. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I'm not too sure what else they've done for this kind of Marvel art series, or if they plan to do more. But what we were amazed by is the fact that Alex Ross, yes, he's been around comics for a long time, but he's never written a single thing. But we were very much impressed with what he produced here, like a really tight, precision kind of storytelling, and showcasing some fantastic art. It's something I recommend. It's actually quite cheap. I think you get this in Forbidden Planet for £14 or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
It's only 66 pages, but it's 66 beautiful
Cool
pages.
Yeah,
and nice hardcover. So yeah, I would recommend anyone pick that up and enjoy it, because it was really, really good. I'm not a Fantastic Four fan myself. I don't think any of us are. Some guys in the chat the other day said they're not big Fantastic Four fans, but they were on board with this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully I've done that book some sort of justice, but I'll struggle to kind of describe without giving spoilers. I think it's the hardest thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rich, would you read much Fantastic Four yourself?
I do quite like the Fantastic Four, but I haven't really done any kind of like deep dive. I've got about I collected those, not Eagle Moss, that's the DC one, the other one, Hatchet. Haché, how are they pronouncing it?
Haché.
Books, and I've got over 200 of the things. So there's definitely some Fantastic Four in there, and I've read every single one. But my memory is not very good, so I can't tell you what runs. One I read recently, or reread recently, Grant Morrison did a Fantastic Four mini. It's just a 4-issue mini series called 1, 2, 3, 4, and nice. that was really good. Really worth reading. It's a bit old now, so you have to buy it like the trade paperback secondhand. But
yeah. Well, that book, to be fair, like if you're a big fan of it, I'd recommend it. Even if you're not a huge fan of it, but you know who they are, it's a fun read for everyone, even if you don't know a lot about their universe, because it does a pretty good job explaining what you need to know for the purpose of that story. And as Sonic's Comics is saying, it was a fun read. That's how I would put it: fun and enjoyable. So yeah, we've all done recent reads, recent pickups. We're all going to come towards the end of the stream, but I want to bring up one more topic, Scott, if you're okay.
Yeah,
our dream book, because we kind of discussed this earlier on, like things that we want to see. I know that I didn't give you a heads up, Rich, because I thought I would just surprise you. But Scott's gonna go first. Like just the books you really want to see, either be in a deluxe hardcover, whatever kind of format, just something you want to see out there that you can get, and it will come hopefully one day.
Yes. So first one, pretty sure they're gonna come out is Power Rangers. I'm sure they're gonna carry on with bringing out the deluxes in the future after they've split up Power Rangers and the Mighty Morphin series. I'm sure, because Boom aren't going to stop that, are they? It's such a, tried and tested thing, and they know they're going to get sales, and it's going to be brilliant. So I'm not going to harp on about that too much, but that is obviously a dream that it carries on. Would really love that. Probably the biggest one for me is Seven Secrets. Was a huge fan of when the single issues were coming out, when I was collecting single issues, and it was, even though I was getting maybe 10 a month, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less, but that was always the first one I would either go to read, and that's the one I would always be, ooh, I can't wait to get into Seven Secrets this month, so I love that series so much. But they've only released 18 issues. That's it. That's the story done. But I've only read the first 12. And even though I have the last 6 in single issues, I refuse to read them because I want to read them in a deluxe format.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I've read all the story and I buy a deluxe, it's very unlikely that I'm going to read that deluxe because I've read the story already.
Mm-hmm.
It's just for me to have on my shelf and say, look, I'm a big fan of this series. I want to support it. So I have the best version of this story. So I just hope they do it because I love the series and I want to finish this series, but I want to finish it in a deluxe format. And if they don't, if I'm waiting another 2 years or whatever for it to come out, then I think I'll just buy the trades and get them custom bound.
Yeah. I was a big fan of the first volume. I haven't read the second. Actually, I think I read the first issue 6, issue 7 off the second volume.
Yeah,
and I just never got around to it. Not that it was bad. I was just, and I just stopped reading it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It's Tom Taylor. It's Danielle
DiNicuolo.
Again, friend of Comic Airwaves.
Yeah. And
it looks fantastic. The story's hard hitting and wonderful. It has kind of, if I remember, the art's kind of has a bit of anime style to it, doesn't it?
It's very anime. Yeah.
And it's just, I am the same. I want the deluxe. And Boom have done some of this kind of the children. They've done the
Once in
Future.
Yeah.
And the stupid, ridiculous, overpriced slipcase edition, which I'll probably buy this off that if I release it. I think it will get a hardcover. It's bound to.
I hope it does, man.
I think because they knew how many issues it was going to be. They were just waiting for it to finish and waiting for the last trade paperback to come out, and then which
you have.
Which, if we'd have carried on with recent reads,
we'd have gotten onto it.
That was volume.
Well, I'm glad we didn't because you'd have spoilt it.
Yeah. In terms of my dream books, to be honest, similar Seven Secrets, Power Rangers again. I want those year 1 and year 2 reprinted and finish it the whole series. But I kind of got my dream books. Scott, because you would also send me the link for Fear Agent books 1 and 2.
Yeah.
The Dark Horse Library edition.
Yeah.
So obviously it's now it's over the Image Comics and they're now releasing them at some point later this year. I think it's August time.
Dream come true.
So dream come true for me. So yeah, Fear Agent's one I was wanting. Even though I know nothing about it, I just know there's a lot of hype about it. People spoke about this really good story. It looks wonderful. Scott, you've read the first couple.
I've read it all now.
Have you read it all? Okay.
Read the whole run now.
So, is it worth buying the hardcovers then? Would you think I would enjoy it?
I think so.
Pause.
No, I was just trying to think. I think so. Yeah. So I've got the final editions. This isn't spoiling anything, I promise. The first 3 books for the final edition, that's the whole story, and then the 4th book are little tales and spin-offs that were probably added in whilst the single issues were coming out. So I read the whole story, books 1 to 3, loved it, really enjoyed it, and then I thought it would be carrying on into book 4. I didn't have a clue until I got to book 4 that it was these little spin-off stories. So I was a little bit it's my own fault for not having that forward thinking, I guess, or looking forward to see, to seeing what issues are in each book or whatever. I don't know. But it's a really cool story. It's, there is time travel in it, Phil.
Oh dear.
So keep that in
But-
mind.
It's not complicated though, is it?
Yes, keep that
Okay.
in mind. But it looks awesome. It is funny. The main character is funny. Some of the situations he gets into is funny, and I love the character design for some of the aliens and stuff that you see. It's great.
Nice. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So, Rich, I give you enough time to have a think. Anything you kind of wish comes out soon enough than some sort of collected cover? Or...
Yeah, so I mean, mine is more like I used to buy a lot of single issues, and I had quite a lot of stuff that I sold off years ago just in bits. Some stuff that might actually be worth a little bit, but I didn't know at the time, and so there's some things that I kind of want to buy back now to read again. So Marvel, have their epic collections, which generally they've been starting at the beginning of a character. So if it's like a Ghost Rider epic collection, it'll start from his first appearance, and then it'll just keep going on from there. Well, they're starting to do modern epics, they're calling them.
Mm-hmm.
So starting with, like, one of the first ones they're releasing is Spider-Gwen, or Ghost Spider. So they're starting with her first appearance and in the first epic, and then they'll go on from there. So there's a couple of sort of modernish runs that I want in there. One of them is being released, so that's the New Avengers by Bendis. I had that entire thing, and I love that run, but I did sell it off when I was trying to clear space, and now kind of regret it, but also I would prefer to have it as a book on a shelf. So hopefully they'll do more than just the one volume of that they've got listed. And then the other one that I want that hasn't been announced is Dan Slott's Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if that'll happen because it's a modern. I don't know. They haven't even done them in omnibus yet. There's a lot of people wanting that in omnibus. So
see, they've actually announced Nick Spencer's volume. Well, I'll have volume 1 Nick Spencer and volume 2's due out, and that's the more recent Spider-Man run. Why haven't they done Dan Slott? Yeah,
like I wouldn't be buying it if it was came out as an omnibus, but like it's a run that I feel like everybody wants that run. It's a really, really good run, and for me that was some of my favorite comics when I started reading.
I could be wrong, but is there an omnibus coming out? It's a Brand New Day. That's Dan Slott, isn't it? Brand New Day. There we go. So
yeah,
maybe then they will break it down to release after that.
Sort of. When Brand New Day was happening, it wasn't just Slott. There was like I think they called them the Spidey Brain Trust, and they had like kind of like 4 or 5 writers, and they kind of wrote it all together before then Slott took over and did it all himself. So hopefully, because that one's coming out, they'll then continue from there, and then I can get it in paperback.
Well, that's cool. Dan Slott stuff is something I will pick up if they have the full omnibus, whatever amount of volumes it's going to be. Because he was on for 10 years. I'm not sure the amount of issues, so maybe 3 probably omnibuses. 3 questions in the chat. Have they done a Superior Spider-Man? That's coming. I think at some point this year. Yeah. Well, volume 1.
Really if they're doing a Brand New Day and then a Superior, there's a whole. There's several years in between that kind of leads up to it.
Yeah. So I'm kind of going for this thing where I kind of want to get all the Spider-Man stuff, obviously in like order, or what's the word I'm thinking of? The
chronological
order. Yes, it's one. So that's what I'm hoping for. But they do seem to be released them arse about face, don't they? At times. Some good suggestions here in the chat. We had. Glenn said his dream book is the Man of Steel omnibus by is it John Byrne or David Byrne? I'm not 100%.
John.
Highland G says, Scott, you like this? The Birthright. He wants the deluxe cover.
I was going to bring it up, and then I saw his comment, and I thought I'll leave it. But yeah, totally the same. But the thing is, it's a 10-volume run. I've only read volume 1. I've bought up to volume 4. Haven't read the others, but now I don't want to because I want to wait for a deluxe or an omni. They're just in limbo at the moment. They're not even in my read pile, but then I don't know. But
Martin, he wants the Dark Horse to release Cyberpunk 2077 series in library edition. I haven't seen it myself. I'm not sure. And TripleG wants the Lock and Key add-ins and minis in the same format as the Master Editions, because they have released them in hardcover, but they're smaller than the Master Edition.
The best you're going to get at the moment, if you want to get all of the add-ons and minis, you just need to buy 2 books. You've got the Heaven and Earth book, and you've got the Golden Age. That will cover everything that is like spin-off, add-on, anything like that for Lock and Key.
Yeah, I haven't touched those because they're not available in paperback, are they?
No, hardback only, but they're great.
Can you not get Lock and Key in paperback? Or the add-on?
You can get
the
main run in paperback, which is what I've got, and then.
But those hardcovers are fairly new, like towards the tail end of last year or the second half of last year, weren't they?
Yeah, quite recent. Well, Heaven and Earth isn't, but the Golden Age is.
Yeah, so at some stage they made a paperback. Craig is saying do a Powerbomb and Radiant Black and Deluxe. Do a Powerbomb, absolutely. That artwork
Pre-ordered it.
Yeah, that's after the paperback, the trade.
Yeah.
And Radiant Black, it's something I collect, and I kind of want to get all the Massive first. I know you guys both read them.
Yeah. I'm collecting all the Massiverse. I'm going to start doing the big run through soon.
Yeah, because I have the single issues of Radiant Black, but I've stopped, and I've got like all the rest of them on my wish list on the trades. I'll just collect all the trades rather than trying all the single issues. So it's going to be a pain in the backside.
So that is including all the Massiverse stuff, right? So Rogue Sun, Radiant Red, Radiant Pink,
Radiant Pink,
Dead Lucky.
Yeah. Even the ones that I think it's Alad on Instagram said that, is it Cowl or COWL? It's a series that came out years ago that they've kind of added into the Massive First after the Massive First. So there's 2 volumes of that. I've got that on my list as well to get. They're quite hard to get in terms of, even on Amazon, they don't have brand new copies.
Yeah.
So you may have to turn to eBay to get them slightly cheaper. So yeah, that's that. There are some. Here's some good picks, guys. The chat's been buzzing. It's probably the busiest it's been. Only 4 shows into this, so you guys must come every week, every month. You guys must bring the viewership. But every month I do this, where I think, well, we'll go through what's coming out, and I get towards the end of the time, think, do we have time? But I am going to run through the stuff coming out in the next few weeks.
Quick run,
just because I feel like I have to. All right. Now this website I use is League of Comic Geeks, the new comics in. It's not always accurate. There's something called comicreleases.com, which is a bit more accurate, but only it doesn't look as nice on screen, so I don't use that. Coming out in the first week of February. Second week of February, I should say, because the first week's the first. The Daredevil omnibus, I'm definitely picking that up.
Nice.
I'm a bit disappointed in that the Marvel spines. I thought they would change the spine to be the current like all black type of thing, but they've went back to the old maroon red for these Daredevil ones, which is a bit annoying because they don't fit in with everything else. So I thought they were going to change that this time around. They haven't. I'll still enjoy it anyway. Like I say, it's like first world problems. You're worried about the spine of a book and how it looks on your shelf. Many more from volume 6. Scott, you're still picked up those trades, or
I'm still getting them. Yeah,
nice.
So 6 is the last one. There'll be Mighty Morphin 6 and Power Rangers 6, and then it'll go into Recharged 1 then.
If there's anything you guys see in this list, just shout out, because I'm just going to go through, pick out a few things here. A Calculated Man. It's not something I'm getting, but I heard decent things about that as well.
Piqued my interest.
Yeah. The Sea. Anything else coming out that interests me? Probably not. But the manga, which I'm not. I haven't dived into that yet. I know one day I will, and I'll get lost in it. But at the minute, so that's a very light week this week coming, which is good.
Easy peasy.
The following week, February the 8th, Avengers, Jonathan Hickman, Volume 1. I'm not getting that because I think Hickman's just a bit too smart for me, as in that he makes things a bit too complicated. I don't think I could do it. but I've heard good things about that run. Sandman, Scott, you were picking them up.
The deluxe book. So this is a different type of.
Okay.
book.
Sorry,
So
Rich, did you say something there?
Love Everlasting on the top row. I've heard good things about that. I don't know much about it. Who's the writer? I can't remember.
Is it Tom King?
I think it's King.
Yeah.
I knew it was a big name, right?
That's that. That's the what's the French cartoonist? I'm going to pronounce the name because I can't do French. She's really good. I follow her on Instagram for Elsa. Chartier or something. Yeah, she's her stuff's class. Yeah, that could be a good shout. Of Everlasting. I pick up the Dune books. To be fair, they're just like kind of standard hardcovers of the Dune stuff. Yeah. I'm a fan of that. We live the hardcover, so Scott, me and you picked up the single issues at the time. Wonderful story. They released the paperback. Now they're giving the hardcover. I don't know if it's oversized or not. But it was a good story. The second one, which is like
Age of the Paladins.
Yeah, it's not.
I never read that.
Yeah, don't. It's just not. It's not the same. It just doesn't make any sense, to be honest with you.
Right.
Anything else there, guys? That just shout out to me.
Okay. Just a couple mangas, isn't there?
Yeah, I think Chris would be the one who would probably know all of these or most of these. I just think there's quite a lot of stuff. It's hard to know where to start.
There are mangas, obviously, I know when I'm picking, like, as in I'm watching the shows, like Demon Slayer, Boruto, I've seen Fire Force, there's My Hero Academia, so there are ones that I know. I'm not shouting them out because I don't know anything about the mangas. Yeah. But I'm enjoying the shows.
15th, Stillwater paperback. I've enjoyed that. That's something I picked out in the single issues.
Yeah. Is that a reprint of Planet Hulk, or is that?
That is a reprint, yeah. So that's the omnibus. Again, we read Planet Hulk for the Nerd Herd. Mm-hmm. I have the hardcover, but it's not the omnibus. It's just the oversized hardcover. Right. That's a really good story, to be honest. I'd recommend people read that if they haven't already.
Yeah, but then don't bother with World War Hulk. Don't bother.
Yeah, it was okay, but it's not the same level as Planet Hulk.
Alice Ever After on that line.
Intrigued.
That's one I'll probably grab. Charlie over on Killer Comics is a big fan. Yeah,
I picked up the first issue of that. I can't pronounce his name. Is it Dan Panasian? The art's phenomenal. He's really, really good. They're really detailed. There's a lot of stuff in it, and you kind of think to yourself, how do you have the time to do that?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'd recommend that. To be fair, give it. Well, only read the first issue, but just give it a chance, I suppose. I've heard good things about this Sacrament. I think when I say hear good things, I follow AWA on Instagram, and they pump this. Like, they really put this out.
So you've heard good things from the people trying to sell it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. But everything I've read from AWA is quality. Really, really enjoyable stuff. So yeah, there's something. Scott, Mind Management bootleg.
Yeah, that looks a bit funky, doesn't it? Like, I don't know about that one.
It's not for me because I'm not a fan of Mind Management. I knew both of you guys liked it, I think, if I recall.
Yeah, it was decent. The first issue was pretty cool. If you just ignore the art.
Again, sorry to kind of leave out the manga, but I don't think any of us here. Rich, do you read much manga yourself?
No, I'm starting to maybe dip my toe this year, but I've read a couple in the past, but nothing modern.
Yeah. And then the final week in February, which is just 3 days after my birthday. I'll just put that out there.
Hint, hint.
I know. Spider-Verse Omnibus, I'm not picking it up because it's massive, and I don't think I would want to read all like the tie-ins and stuff. I'm happy to read if there's an event, but I'm not too sure on that yet. Maybe one day I'll pick it up. If you can find it cheap enough. Hulk Grand Design Treasury Edition. I like those. They're like the kind of larger gallery editions, I think.
Yeah, almost. And, I'd be interested in that, but if I got it, I'd want to go back and then get the Fantastic Four one and there's 3 X-Men ones.
Yeah,
and that'd get very pricey. So I'm just staying away.
The X-Books continues, and I'm not touching the X-Books doing it because there's just too many of them.
There's a Black Hammer trade paperback. I'll be picking that up.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
Scott, you have Black Hammer?
I have Volume 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I have the first library edition actually, but I've never actually opened it.
Yeah,
I should really give it a try. The Magic Order Volume 3.
Ooh.
Again, we were big fans of the first one.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. The only disappointing part for me with the Magic Order, like the sequels, they changed the artist because we were a huge fan of the art in the first one, weren't we? You also asked about this, Scott, Batman the Detective.
I did, and I've cancelled the pre-order now. I spoke to someone reached out to me on Instagram because I put a thing on my story saying, yes or no, and it was kind of ish. So I was like, right, okay. If I'm not going to be sure on it, I'm not going to buy it.
You're just right. I read it, at least the first few issues of that, and I can't remember. Like, I think I enjoyed it, but it was just a Batman story at the end of the day.
The only thing that intrigued me was like Batman goes to the UK and it's Tom Taylor.
Yeah. And it's really kind of different there. It's like almost like what's that word? Not cyberpunk. What's the other one?
Steampunk.
Steampunk, that's the one. Other than that, anything else? Shout out.
Blue Lock is a really good show. Yeah, Kill Lock, I'm looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
Blue Lock is a really good anime as well. I'm watching that at the moment. And that's about football.
Okay. Like soccer?
Yeah.
Or American football. Okay, cool.
Soccer,
cool.
Yeah. Really cool.
I've heard good things about Rooster Fighter. I know nothing about it. I just heard it being mentioned by a few people on Instagram. Right. And I think somebody, maybe Connie, in one of the other streams, had mentioned Fire Force.
Connie reads Fire Force. It's 2 seasons out at the moment. I'm all caught up, and I think there's only going to be a 3rd season, and then that'll be it. The writer for that the writer, any shows that he's written, any mangas that he's written that have been translated into shows don't last very long. As in, his runs aren't huge. Mm-hmm. So the shows that he's, involved in tend to be 2 or 3 seasons long.
Okay, cool. Dogs of London. I've heard people have recommended that as well. That's something that could be on your radar. Again, a lot of manga. Manga. And lucky enough, there's not too many omnibuses that I'm actually going to pick up, which is good for my wallet.
Cheap month,
yeah. I'm being more picky, I think, with my kind of purchases over the next few months, just because I don't want to buy too much to the point where it just becomes ridiculous. So yeah, I'll just, before we wrap up here, Kevin's just saying, like anything Daniel Warren Johnson, oversized artwork, original artwork, yes. Martin's picking up Planet Hulk. Craig's mentioned the Immortal Iron Fist is coming February 28th. I didn't see it in that list, so I wonder if that's been delayed. I'm not sure. I didn't see it there anyway. Or was it there?
I didn't see it. No.
Promiscuous Time Traveler saying, I think 2021 was a better year than 2022 for independent comic books. To be fair, 2021, that's like Something's Killing the Children and
Once in Future,
wasn't it? Yeah.
7 Secrets, We Only Find Them When They're Dead.
Yeah, there was tons. And Martin's unfortunately confirmed that Immortal Iron Fist has been delayed. And he's looking for the Spider-Verse. And Kevin is saying that Hulk gallery, Jim Rugg and Ed Piskor. YouTube channel, Cartoonist Kayfabe is a really good watch. Yes, I've seen that a few times actually. I like that YouTube channel, Cartoonist Kayfabe. Check that out.
Some of the stuff's like a little bit like niche. But some of the stuff when they do deep dives into just an issue is really interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, that's everything we have today. We've discussed our reads, our pickups, a few, kind of cast around what's coming out. The chat's been great. Thanks very much, everyone who's been here. It's been quite busy, and I've done quite well keeping up with it. So
you have, mate. Well done.
Nailed it. So like my aim going forward is to do this the last Friday of every month. I quite enjoy it, to be honest. I'm quite lazy putting it together. It's always kind of last minute. I wing it slightly, but that's who I am, I suppose. So you're getting a little taste of me. So thanks everyone for joining us live. Thanks everyone who watches in the replay after. We'll be back next month, but on the Nerd Herd this coming week we have King of Spies.
Yeah, my pick. Yeah.
And then we've had Kevin. His recent draw along was The Thing, just Thursday or yesterday past. We read Fantastic Four Full Circle, and like I say, there's something every week for everyone, and we have a quiz once a month as well. So look forward to what's coming out. thanks a lot, guys. I've put the links to Scott and Scott's on the Nerd Herd anyway. I put the links to Rich in the description below. If you don't really follow him, go and do it. You will be kind of jealous of his like layout and the way his grid looks on Instagram and the stuff he puts out. It's very cool stuff. So yeah,
thank you for having me on.
We'll have you on again. I say I have a
roster.
That's a good word, of like 8 or 9 people. I'm going to rotate them because I like having different people and different personalities and do it that way. So yeah, everyone, thanks very much for joining us. That is what all the Omnifuss is all about.
Hey,
see you in the next one.
Bye,
Peace.
guys.